Hey everybody, this is Perch. Here's a mail that I think asks a good question, and it's one that maybe you thought of before. It says, why number one? It says, hello Perch. If the thing that sells a number one is the variants, why not just do variants for an important issue of a new storyline? Similarly, why not just do storylines instead of miniseries so you don't have to advertise a new product? And isn't the result of all this that fans from one mini don't carry over to another since it's a whole new book? Oh, and why is Captain Marvel safe from this? Is Kelly Thompson like the heir to Marvel or sleeping with an editor? Because the book hasn't ended, nor has she been taken off, and it's not selling well or generating buzz. Okay, that's two questions in one. Thanks for reading. Well, first off, the number one question. So it kind of sits with a, somewhat of an old-fashioned idea that really doesn't hold up anymore, and that's that number ones bring in new readers. And that was kind of institutional knowledge at Marvel. Like, oh, this is a jumping on point, number ones. But in reality, number ones are basically, the number one plus the variant is speculator bait. There's actually very, very little evidence that new readers come in anymore at number one. I think there was a period of time in the late 80s through kind of early 2000s where, people who are coming into comics, particularly in the 90s, would look for the number one issue and start from there. But by and large, and again, this is somebody who was a retailer for, 30 odd years, there was very, very few times where a customer would come into the shop looking for comics and go, well, I need to start with number one. I guess if I can't find number one, I'm not interested in picking it up. The people who would say that were existing comic fans who are like, yeah, I want to collect this series after all, and so I need to find the number one issue. If I can't find it, then, I guess I'll put some of these on hold, and, they basically send me on a little quest to find the number one issue. That existed. But number one issues do not bring in new readers. Not in any significant numbers. It's a myth. So what happens is that the comic publishers have convinced themselves that, if we relaunch it, if we put a number one on it, and we do some variant covers, we will get a bunch of, new readers to come into this thing. And the sales prove that that's not the case. Or put it this way, if it was the case, it would be a very damning statement, because what it would basically say is, hey, we got a lot of new readers to come in and try this comic book as a number one, but they immediately dumped it after the first issue. They hated the first issue so much they didn't stick around for the second, because you see the sales plummet between the first and second issue. The reason the sales are high is because of the variants. The variants are being bought by collectors. Variants are not being bought by new readers. New readers who are, new to comics or certainly new to a title do not come in and go, the most important thing for me is I need this J. Scott Campbell variant. They don't even know what these concepts mean. So those comics are bought by speculators. And then when you see the drop to issue number 2, with fewer variants, it's really clear what's going on. And at that point, you've lost, you do not have the new readers, you said. So the entire purpose of relaunching number one has nothing to do with getting new readers. It has everything to do with, creating kind of variant bait for speculators. That's what the number one is for. That's the reason they do it. They don't admit it, because I don't think, the publishers want to go out and say, yeah, our publishing strategy is really built on long-term collectors, people in their 40s who have some disposable income and are buying variant covers. That is the crux and the backbone behind our publishing strategy. I know we said that, we were all behind the new readers, and that was our initiative, diversify our base and all the rest. But really, everything we do is in the service of 40-year-old men, because that is the bulk of our buying audience. Sorry, that's what we've got. And I've had, publishers at times or editors kind of cry about it, basically of like, we keep trying to get these new people, but every time we do, that angry collector base, whines and complains, and then, we can't get these new customers. And the challenge with that is I haven't seen a business strategy that convinces me that they could get the new customers. That there's not a plan that's been surfaced. If you look at the kind of stuff that goes on, it's play to the collectors, with variants and number one relaunches. And then, following that, it's hey, let's try a bunch of mini series, try and get some stuff into trades, do things that are, that really have no chance of actually succeeding. That's the publishing strategy as it comes across. So why are they doing the number ones? For speculators, for collectors, whether they admit it to themselves or not? That's why they're doing it. If you really wanted to do something for new readers, you would be, I mean, look, plenty of new readers came into the newsstand when comics were in, like 100, 200, 300. Plenty of new people showed up. One of the ways that they hooked new readers in my shop was, back during the 90s, it would be like, hey, this is, issue 50, issue 100. It's a big anniversary issue. And it'd be double sized. And it's like, they'd be doing more stuff. And generally in those issues, they do a little backup story that was like a retelling of the origin for the 500th time. And that kind of stuff tended to be good anchors and hooks for new readers. And it also tended to keep and lock in those people, because they would then work to go backward. They would say, I want to find out how we got here. So they would start investing. And as soon as you get a customer who's actually investing in your product over several years, who's actually, putting in hundreds and thousands of dollars into a comic, you've locked that person in for decades at that point. That's the most valuable customer you can have. So you can certainly go get a new customer. But a number one relaunch strategy with variants is not the way to do it. It's proven at this point that's not the way to do it. Every way you look at the math, every way you look at the publishing strategy, that's wrong. Anyway, as to the second part of your question, yes, Kelly Thompson is sleeping with Tom Brevoort. That's what's going on. There you go. Thanks for I'm kidding. I'm who would come out worse than that deal? I don't know. But no, look, Kelly, Marvel's in a place right now where they don't have a lot of writers, just bluntly. I mean, they have a lot of them because they're in there, but they don't have a lot of name writers. Somehow, in some bizarre, twist of fate, Kelly Thompson has become one of Marvel's biggest writers. We're really sitting on a place where, Kieran Gillen, is one of the top writers. Jason Aaron, Al Ewing, Kelly Thompson, that Steve Orlando, that's your bench. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, when your company has lost Teeny Howard, yeah, I mean, shit. What are you gonna do? Captain Marvel is absolutely going to get relaunched soon. I would guess that that's going to happen right around the time the new movie drops. So I think this year, I'd be willing to bet that they wrap up Captain Marvel and we get a brand new number one issue, in alignment with that stuff. They moved the trade paperbacks. They had a bunch of them going out for the summer for the Marvels, but now it's going to be later. But I would guess that comic gets relaunched this year. That's my bet. I mean, it's been a dramatic oversight at Marvel. They've let the title, get past issue 12. So they've got to work on that. Anyway, thank you very much for the mail. But I mean, that's it. I mean, look, for all the talk of Marvel about, new readers and, we gotta, we don't like these, the 40-year-old collectors need to move on or evolve. Maybe they just shouldn't buy comics anymore. I mean, okay, but that is where your publishing strategy is aimed. That's what you do. That's the crux of your business at the moment. And you keep playing to it. The publishers keep playing to that demographic, that age group. No matter what they say, I don't care how many YouTube videos on there are. They're like, they're appealing to Twitter people. I mean, sure, but guess what? Their publishing strategy, their relaunch variant cover publishing strategy, the crux of their business, it is squarely aimed at 40-year-old dudes. Just saying. That the approach they're using is not friendly to any of those other markets that they're talking about. That's why a lot of the new markets that they're appealing to sail the high seas when they go looking for their comic. It's why I read free comics online. I don't know how. I mean, by the way, it blows my mind when I see a writer or an editor retweet a panel from a book or a page from a book. I'm like, this is such a great moment for Storm. It's like, bitch, you got the Read Free Comics Online watermark at the bottom there. You are actively saying that the customer that you like the best, that you're promoting, you're signal losing, all that kind of stuff, that customer is not spending a dime on your comic. And that's the one you like best. Way to go. Genius move. Anyway. Variant covers don't work, in a pirate world. But just saying, you better start embracing those NFTs now. Anyway, thanks for listening.